joined by Dan Thomas, Managing Director of Hammer Metals with the ASX code of HMX. Dan holds over 20 years experience in operations, corporate development, project management, and project finance. Dan has worked across Australia, North America, Asia, and Africa, and a wide range of commodities such as base and precious metals. Now, Dan, you've been the Managing Director of Hammer Metals since 2019. For those new to the company, can you give us a brief overview of the business?
Yeah, so Hammer Metals has got two projects. The first and probably foremost asset that we look at is our copper and gold projects in the Mount Isa region. So some 3,000 square kilometres of tenure there, prime exploration tenure, surrounded by tier 1 deposits. We have our own JORC resources there, some 530,000 tonnes of copper equivalent metal. So it's spread across 4 projects, but with the majority of the metal in one particular project there. So we've got a significant resource base in Mount Isa. In addition to that, we have an exploration project in the Yandal region of Western Australia, so heart of gold production territory there, produced some 24 million ounces.
Perfect. So I believe Kalman is your cornerstone asset. Are you able to tell us a little bit more about this project and what it actually means for shareholders?
Yeah, Kalman's a JORC resource. We released the resource upgrade there in May 2023, significant resource upgrade, some 40% increase in contained metal. The project there is a copper gold molybdenum mix, which is a little bit unique and different to mainstream copper gold deposits. In saying that, it's ideally located just 60 kilometres southeast of Mount Isa, close to established infrastructure, road, rail, water, power, everything you need to develop a mine. In terms of that particular project, we've been drilling there last year, which enabled us to increase that resource. We have a number of near-field targets there as well as JORC resources. So in prime area, I guess, for a future development there. Perfect.
So molybdenum was recently added to the critical minerals list. Many people have never heard of this or know what it's used for or know how to pronounce it. Can you tell us a little bit more about this and what it means for Hammer Metals?
Yeah, you're right. Kalman does contain a significant amount of molybdenum in the deposit. In fact, it's one of the highest undeveloped grade projects in the world for molybdenum. Molybdenum probably isn't well known to investors in the Asia Pacific region, but it is well known through North and South America. It typically occurs in the large porphyry systems there as an element that's associated with copper mineralisation in those projects. There's pure molybdenum mines in North America, but there aren't many. There's one particular in Australia that's being produced out of Cadia, which is a large copper gold porphyry system in New South Wales. In terms of its uses, it's used to effectively as an alloy to create high temperature heat resistant steel. So it has a lot of applications, particularly in the green economy for minerals moving forward. Used a lot in turbine applications, so the large wind turbines that are being produced contain significant amounts of molybdenum in them. Any high-grade steel effectively that's produced, so oil and gas typically has been the historical uses for molybdenum. Even I have trouble saying it, and I don't envy investors looking at molybdenum opportunities to pronounce it. So let's just use moly. So moly, yeah, as I said, is used in high temperature steel applications. I'm doing a little bit of reading and research at the moment. It's used in nuclear turbines, again for creating high purity steel and high heat resistant steel as well. So I guess as our economy transitions to greener, cleaner sources of energy, it's used in the backing of solar panels. Molybdenum has a great forward-looking use. The supply side, though, probably is similar to copper. So grades globally of copper are declining. Similarly, molybdenum grades are declining. So finding new sources of this material is incredibly important, and I think that's culminated in Minister King adding it to the critical minerals list here in Australia. So I think that affords our investors a bright pathway there for that particular project. And in the future in Queensland for development of a molybdenum-rich mine, which is coexistent with the copper resource we have there.
Perfect. Wow, it's very interesting. So with so much exploration on several sites, how is the company positioning itself for funding?
Yeah, the company is well funded. In terms of our cash position, we were in a very similar position last year, and we delivered a substantial set of news flow from a very similar cash position. So investors may have seen our quarterly report. We reported $1.8 million in cash If you dig a little bit deeper into that number, we're expecting around $400,000 from the Mount Isa East joint venture funds to come back into our accounts for drilling that was completed in December. In addition to that, we have our annual R&D tax refund process underway. Typically, we see those funds return to us in March. So last year was another $1.1 million which came into the company. So we find ourselves in a very similar position to last year, where we released our Kalman resource upgrade. We drilled multiple prospects at Hardway and South Hope. So we find ourselves in a similar position with a good pathway there to a good two quarters of cash left. We're looking to drill in WA next week, which we're looking forward to. In addition to that, we also have joint venture partners Sumitomo Metal Mining and Glencore. We're very active in our JV with Sumitomo Metal Mining, whereby they're funding the ongoing exploration in those projects. So the drilling that will take place from those projects will occur next month. It's great that we don't have to dig our hands into the pocket for that particular program. So, I think we're in a strong position, albeit, potentially with an investor keeping an eye on where the cash is at.
Perfect. Very nice. So, when are you targeting PFS, DFS, or what are the next steps to mining?
It's a great question, and it's something that we think about a lot internally. I spoke before about the prospects of Kalman and the similarities with a project like T3 in Botswana. I think the project is ready to go through that feasibility assessment stage. We need to ask ourselves whether or not we want to take on the capital to continue doing those study work, or whether our capital is best spent on exploring our existing systems and our opportunities that we have. In 2023, we unearthed 3 new mineral systems in the Mount Isa region that each delivered 50 metre plus intersections of greater than 1% copper. I think where a world is heading into a deficit of copper and people are looking for copper supply, adding additional resources at those sorts of grades is going to be more valuable for our shareholders than completing a study phase on the Carman Project. So we're hoping to parallel those processes, but at the moment our focus in terms of using what is a limited supply of cash is delivering exploration results to deliver our shareholders decent returns. If we get to a stage where our share price is appreciated to a significant extent, then we can look to take on larger amounts of capital to enable us to complete those studies and continue our exploration work. So our focus is delivering shareholder returns, and at the moment our assessment is to deliver those returns. The best value is through the drill bit, continuing to make discoveries. So on that, our team is highly experienced, responsible historically for the discovery of the Gruyere ore body, a 6 million ounce ore body in Western Australia. I mentioned those drill hits and the success that we had last year. We're looking to replicate this year. So some of those systems will continue to explore and test, in addition to new targets that the team are generating through geophysics and geochemistry.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. So what do you see Hammer Metals being in the future?
So when I joined Hammer, I was firmly with a view of taking a company from exploration success through the development of a project to generating a future profitable mining operation and become a mid-tier company.
Yeah.
I would still love to see that happen, but I am also a realist. Copper projects and good copper projects are highly sought after, and if we deliver on our exploration aims and success, we may never be in control of that pathway in terms of other companies being interested in what we do. Yeah. So on that journey, I'd love to see us become a producer one day, but for now it's concentrate at the task at hand, which is deliver more tonnes of economic ore for our shareholders.
Okay, perfect. So then 2024 looks like it's going to be quite an exciting year for Hammer Metals. What's on the horizon and what should shareholders really get excited about this year?
Yeah, great question. We have some news flow outstanding from our drill programs last year, so I expect those assay results in the next week or two from our Mount Isa East joint venture. So that drilling was done in December. Mm-hmm. There were 3 targets that were drilled there with about 2,000 metres of drilling, so we're looking forward to releasing those results. In addition to that, next week or even later this week, the drill rig's turning up in Western Australia. Wow. To test some prospects we've had there for some time. It's returning to an old prospect called Target 1, where we'll look to expand on some gold mineralisation that we've previously discovered there. In addition to that, there's a great lithium target. And I know lithium markets are a little bit beaten up at the moment, but I still think that there's a genuine reward there for good greenfields lithium discoveries. We have some highly promising lithium geochemistry in our historical work through the region. We've got highly fractionated pegmatites that we've seen on surface. We're located just 40 kilometres away from Kathleen Valley, on the other side of that granite system that feeds those pegmatites at Kathleen Valley. So in terms of an outlook for that particular program, we're quite excited to see what we deliver from those. And then in terms of Mount Isa, we'll be back drilling those 3 targets that I mentioned that delivered those 50 metre plus intersections last year. So we'll be looking to do that probably middle of March by the time the ground dries out there and we complete some further drilling in the Mount Isa East JV. So it's a busy 6 to 8 weeks ahead with the results to onflow from that, which I think gives investors, something to look forward to in the coming months.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds exciting. Well, thank you for joining me today, and we look forward to more updates in the future. All the best for 2024.
Thanks, Emily.
Thanks.